The majority of us pay no vivid attention to Killer Bee, even though he was a major supporting character in the Narutoverse. In fact, ask any random Naruto fan who Killer Bee was and a lot of them would remember he was the 8-tailed Jinchuriki and that he fought against Madara Uchiha and Obito, and that is all. In today's video, we would be talking about Killer Bee, a side character in Naruto, and what happened to him during the 4th Great Ninja War, and why he survived the extraction of the 8 tails. But before we go on, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and leave a like if we did impress you. Let's run a little background on who Killer Bee is. He was a shinobi from Kumogakure and he's the current Jinchuriki of the 8 tails. Unlike his ancestors who were unable to befriend it and hone its full abilities, Bee could do all of that, and his major aim in life was to be the world's greatest rapper. At a very young age, Bee was the only one who could do the lightning release technique in the whole village. He had a great amount of chakra and an equally great amount of stamina, allowing him to be able to fight for a whole day without getting tired even when he goes complete beast mode. He is able to recover quickly and keep on fighting, and that is a big plus for Killer Bee. His massive amount of chakra even caused Samihada to betray Kisame, who was his master at the time, and join forces with Bee. Even the Shinju, which was the god tree in Naruto, developed some sort of attraction to Bee, and because of that, chased him with its roots and branches more than any other shinobi in the Narutoverse. I'm sure a lot of us know Zoro from One Piece, who was a master of getting lost and using 3 swords. Killer Bee uses 7, and I found that immensely impressive. It's almost impossible to use 3 swords as a human being. How in God's name can one person handle 7? But then anything is possible in an anime with someone with great will. Killer Bee, who is Kumo's guardian and has long ago acquired his special abilities, is a very strong shinobi who is capable of defeating the entire Taka squad, which consists of other dangerous fighters namely Sasuke, Jugo, Karin, and Suigetsu on his own. When he was younger, he completed missions alone that should have been completed as a team with his partner A, leading him to conclude that his younger brother is more talented than he is. Bee was described as a powerful ninja rather than just a Jinchuriki by Minato Namikaze. When the 4th Shinobi World War broke out, Bee was able to hold his own against Kisame Hoshigaki of the Akatsuki, and subsequently 2-tailed beasts. But why did Killer Bee survive the 8 tails extraction? The reason Bee survived the extraction of the 8 tails, which left most of us in awe on how he was able to pull it off, was all thanks to Gyuki. A single tail has enough 8-tail chakra to revive the 10 tails, so as it was being extracted by Madara, Gyuki left behind a tail inside Killer Bee which had enough chakra to keep Killer Bee alive. And yes, Gyuki has the ability to break off its tails. And this was enough to keep him alive until the battle ended. Now that it has been established that Killer Bee was very much kept alive by the chakra of the Gyuki, we now understand how he was caught and trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi, since there was no way it could work on a dead person, much less Killer Bee. Even though Killer Bee was a very strong fighter and had enough power to wipe out a whole team, a lot of people don't seem to like him and would just easily relegate him to the sidelines, even though he was quite the perfect shinobi and one of the strongest Jinchuriki. We then wonder, why do most Naruto fans dislike Killer Bee? Well, after doing a lot of research, the general consensus of Naruto fans was that Killer Bee was a very annoying character and his rapping seemed to put them off. He was a great fighter no doubt, but whipping out his notepad and jotting down lines even in the middle of a fight just seemed to turn a lot of people off. And to make matters worse, his lines didn't make much sense either. He was a clown of a rapper trapped in his own delusion that he was going to be the greatest through his mediocre lines. I'm sure, according to the writers of Naruto, that particular character trait of Bee was meant to be like a certain form of comic relief, but it seemed to have the opposite effect on the viewers. Most fans found it annoying, and some people don't even like his voice, especially the ones that watched the English dub. Make no mistake, there are some people who actually found his rapping entertaining and funny, but it's not the case for every Naruto fan. Both Killer Bee and Naruto had their Bijus extracted in the war arc, but while Killer Bee left almost unharmed, Naruto was on the verge of death and a lot of people seemed more focused on that. Killer Bee also had less screen time during the First World War, but a little bit more after, So here's what actually happened to him. During the war, the reason for not showing Killer Bee immediately after the extraction was primarily for dramatic purposes and to create suspense within the story. The focus of the narrative at that point was on the war and the battles between various characters. By not revealing Killer Bee's fate right away, it added tension and uncertainty to the overall storyline. However, it was later revealed that Killer Bee had managed to survive the extraction of the Eight Tails thanks to the timely save from Gyuki, the Eight Tails. The Shinobi world embarked on a reconstruction and rehabilitation project after the Great War, and Killer Bee played a huge role in that. During this period, Killer Bee played a very important role as a very charismatic person. And with his rap skills, he was able to uplift people's spirits and even inspire others to look towards a better future, using his music as some sort of healing therapy for those who had been wounded or traumatized from the war. In his home village, he garnered a lot of respect and people looked up to him as some sort of symbol of hope for the future, having played an important role in the war. Since the Akatsuki were no longer a threat, having been eliminated, Bee now focused on rebuilding the Land of Lightning and was determined to foster peace between the nations. Even though a lot of viewers considered his rapping skills as mediocre and annoying, it was one of the important things he used in fostering love and peace between people and among the nations, and there was an influx in cultural exchange in the Shinobi world. After the Fourth World War, Killer Bee became a sort of war hero and he was recognized as one of the strongest shinobi, even earning the respect of his fellow ninjas. He became some sort of diplomat, engaging in diplomatic missions and making negotiations between nations. Although very cocky sometimes and proud, Killer Bee was also very wise. Hence, one can understand why he was sent on diplomatic missions. After the war, he became even wiser, gaining a lot of knowledge from the events that happened during the war, so his resources were very much welcomed. Even after the horrors of the war, Killer Bee never stopped being who he was. He kept his playful nature and became some sort of mentor, training the next generation of shinobi, especially those who seemed interested in gaining the power of the Eight Tails, and proved to be that they would wield and use the powers responsibly. During all of these, Killer Bee and Naruto formed a deep bond and they grew very close, working hand in hand to bridge the gap between the tailed beasts and their human hosts. Naruto found Bee's experience as a Jinchuriki very valuable and essential, and Bee helped Naruto in his duties as the newly appointed Hokage. As more time went by, Bee started to think about his goals outside of being a Jinchuriki. He understood that he had more to contribute to the world and that the Eight Tails did not entirely define who he was. He made the decision to become a musician since he enjoys music and rap. Rapper Bee started appearing at numerous gatherings and concerts all throughout the ninja world. His music transmitted messages of harmony, tenacity, and love by touching the hearts of listeners from many backgrounds. As his popularity grew, Bee utilized it as a platform to promote equality and the abolition of prejudice. Bee continued to learn and hone his shinobi abilities in addition to his musical attempts. He experimented with several fighting styles and created special moves that combined his rapping styles with his fighting prowess. His unique fighting technique, known as Rapuden, encouraged the next generation of ninjas to fuse art and combat. Over time, Bee's musical endeavors brought him into contact with musicians from many villages, bridging cultural divides and establishing a sense of community among the shinobi. His songs became a unifying force, serving as a reminder of the Fourth Great Ninja War sacrifices and the value of maintaining peace. As the years passed, Bee rose to become an authority figure in the shinobi community. He persisted in using his position to mentor young shinobi and advance peace both inside and outside the villages. Through his music, which continued to motivate subsequent generations, his legacy endured. Now, we see Killer Bee in Boruto residing in the Hidden Cloud Village, acting as a guide and a teacher, having intense swordsmanship skills and mastering his control of his Jinchuriki. Why we couldn't see more of Killer Bee is a question we would like Kishimoto to answer. But all in all, even though Killer Bee had less screen time during the war arc, his contribution to the war and even before was quite significant, as he was the one that helped train Naruto to master his Biju. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any thoughts or contribution in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed or liked this video, now is the time to do so before you forget. I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching.